に使命をかけて燃える街にあとわずか届く叫びを耳にして帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマン十字を組んで狙った敵は必殺技の贈り物大地を飛んで流星パンチ近くに立ってウルトラチョップ凶悪怪獣倒すため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマン
Hello and welcome to Ultra Q, episode 54. I am your host today. Red is on leave, duty.
Red is fighting
assignment.
for our future.
Yeah.
For freedom.
Yeah, Red is away right now, having a wonderful time. And we're discussing episodes 43 through 45 of good old Return of Ultraman.
You didn't introduce me yet, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say we should introduce ourselves. My name's Brad, and I'm here with Mel.
Hi. Hey, Brad. I just bumped into your doctor by the docs. He said he wanted to meet you and talk to you about your cholesterol in the warehouse.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's wearing like a weird trench coat and fedora. I think you can't miss him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me just get my medicine from that guy. I'll be right back. So, before we hop into the Return of Ultraman funsies, have you watched anything?
Yeah, I got a couple of stuff that I don't need to honestly spend too much time on,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't really have that much to speak. I finished Rose of Versailles.
How is that? I still have yet to start it, which I feel bad about.
Oh, nice. Cool. It was good on the whole. The show is very pretty. Classic 70s anime. The pacing is truly bizarre, as I have discovered that the first half of the show adapts like the first one or two volumes of the manga. And then the second half of the show adapts everything else. And so one of those is like taking its sweet time, perhaps more than it should, and the other is like, oh, we gotta book it.
Oh.
And
How many volumes is the manga? Do you know?
No, I don't. Let's look it up real quick.
Just to give an idea of the time squish happening there.
14.
Ooh. Hey, 12 and 1/2 of a show. You can do that.
Yeah, my favorite Rumiko Takahashi manga.
Yeah.
But yeah, I imagine that like reading the manga, you get to like sit with it a bit more, the second half. But also, I don't know, it's pretty entertaining. I would say all in the whole pretty good. I did not care for the last half of the last episode, where it just becomes like your liberal high school teacher giving their Cliff Notes version of the French Revolution.
Nice. Love that for them.
Yeah. Really cartoonishly being like, oh no, the monarchs, the nobility of Marie Antoinette, and also portraying anyone who is like a Republican as a cartoon villain.
So it goes.
But yeah, I, on the whole, liked it. Glad to have got that under my belt. I'd like to go check out Dear Brother at some point.
That's the one I really want to watch.
Yeah, that's the one that seems fascinating to me, because like I don't know anything about it. I just know it's by the same... The manga's by the same guy, and the anime is directed by the same director as like the latter half of Rose of Versailles. Except for whatever reason, despite the manga of Dear Brother being contemporaneous in the 70s with Rose of Versailles, the anime didn't come out until the 90s, and so like that's interesting. interesting way things happened. So I'm curious to check it out.
Yeah.
And the other thing is this morning, even less to say, because I think you covered it well enough. I finished 00 Season 2.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, I liked it. I feel like, partly I think because of the GGP coverage, I feel the flaws of the second half Season 2 more. Especially with respect to women. And the tendency for some male characters to be like, well, no, I know the real you.
Yeah. It does get a little overboard, especially because there's like 3 of those.
Yeah,
maybe 4.
and like even like the first half, I was like, when Selma Pierce, who's one of my favorite characters, she's like, oh, she takes back her name after a redacted event happens. I like this. And then this time I'm like, damn, I wish she didn't have to take back her name, because the part leading up to it where she just stops being a person for 10 episodes really sucks.
Yeah.
And then I guess I also just feel like revisiting season 1 of 00 was like, damn, they got the imperialism and neocolonialism stuff down pat. And then season 2 feels a bit more like trying to do Zeta and then ultimately shifting to the more normal liberal lens Gundam series in the modern era tend to have, where it's like,
there's one guy who is the problem, we really gotta take him out.
Yeah, peace kumbaya stuff.
I do think he's a fun villain, and I do like that stuff, but also it's very, like, this is not encapsulating even what Zeta did.
Yeah, like it like season 1 is all about, like, it's about interesting complications of, like, there's 3 imperialist blocks, and then ostensibly Celestial Being is doing interventions to stop war, but all this really does is, like, ossify the status quo as they prevent any challenges to the imperial power block. And then season 2 is, anyway, we all became the fascist UN, but we got to get rid of the one guy, and then it resolves by, once we get rid of the one guy, we're back to being the nice UN. And the rebels are in it now, so it's okay. So yeah, I feel like it did lower my assessment of 00, which was previously like in my top 3, and I don't know where it is now. I do feel like IBO is better with this stuff throughout, despite what some people I know say. And it just feels like it has a deeper ingrained in it throughout, and including up until the ending of, like, oh yeah, this is what the state does and how it works. And when in 00, when it's like, oh, we got to, like, the happy, peaceful, liberal ending, it's like a triumph, when it just feels like, oh, no, you didn't get it. Meanwhile, in IBO, it's, like, done with irony and twisting the knife, and it's like, oh, you understand.
Yeah. It honestly, truly a miracle of a show.
Like, I think the ending of IBO is what really, like, makes the show for me in so many ways. Because, like, the thing I think about more, and it's, like, the reason I feel confident saying, oh, it gets it, even if, like, you know, I've seen other people say, well, it's mostly just for melodrama. I'm like, well, I think you have to, like, have an understanding of this stuff to have an ending that ends that way, and, you know, there's clear intent there, but, you know.
A lot of my personal experience has been that the people who dislike IBO are the type of people to throw around terms like plot armor, and I've just stopped listening to those people.
Yeah. Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with that, but, you know, I just think, you know.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely people who think, like, it's, for a reason, like a melodramatic show, and I think there's elements of that. It's also, like, kind of a Yakuza story as a mecha war story, but, you know. Okada's spinning a lot of plates, and sometimes she fumbles, like with polyamory, but sometimes she hits, like with polyamory.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
IBO is a line of contrast, and so is Gundam 00. I still on the whole like it. I would not... even if it lowers in a rank, it's not like going down like 2 tiers or anything. It's still like, well, it's still on my upper echelon of shows. And like season 1 is still good. Season 2 still has the Pang Hercury stuff, which Didn't stand out as much to me in the first watching, but this time it's like, oh yeah, this is like a. Clearly the writer still kind of gets it, but I'm just wondering what they're cooking with the ending. But yeah, I gotta watch the movie for next week then.
Yeah, I still like the series itself pretty. Like I'd say it's like a great time. I think I'm. Like I said, I think I'm still at, like, I think Season 1 is more consistently good. Season 2 has higher highs for me, but also lower lows. Yeah, that movie I could kind of take or leave, but it's a funny time.
I remember liking the movie, so I guess I'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cessna is a good boy.
Yeah.
I like both. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna say that. I guess say what I was gonna say at that point, but yeah. It's just yeah, 00, fun time. Good to have a pretty good to decent post 2000 Gundam series.
Yeah,
a rarity.
Anything else, or should I talk about my very brief things?
Yeah, I think the only thing I have is like I'm picking away at like the first bit of Tales of Earthsea, the short story book, and it's all right. I don't know if it's pulling me as much, but we'll see. You can go now.
Yeah, well, there are two things I'm not going to talk about for now. One of them maybe never, because, like, honestly, who gives a shit? But I got Hulu, which means I've been starting and revisiting anime classics, such as me and my friends watched the first episode of Sin Duality Noir. And I decided to revisit an old iconic favorite, King of the Hill. Truly a milestone for the medium. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about either of those right now. I might come back and talk about Sin Duality if there's stuff there. First episode was like enjoyable enough, but also it's like, boy, this sure does feel like a licensed multimedia project show that was made to get people excited for a multiplayer video game coming out. But yeah, aside from that, I almost forgot to mention that I had finished the Herzog memoir, Every Man for Himself and God Against All. As that book comes to a close, it's a lot more Herzog talking about just like random subjects that he feels.
Sorry to interrupt with laughing. I just saw Red react to the image you posted.
Yeah. Listen, before we started recording, folks, Ed Greenwood decided to drop some lore about drow breast milk, and I wanted to share with Mel. And Red just saw it. But people who made D&D settings and rules and otherwise, not known for being normal. But where was I? Yes, so Herzog's memoir. As it comes to a close, it becomes more about just random subjects he's interested in. There's a little bit where he talks about how he knows that there's a lot of what he calls jokers online doing impersonations and parodies of him, and he loves it, which makes me happy deep down. He also talks a little bit more about what his thoughts are on like technology and social media, and like the ways he can see some goods in it, but also how he thinks like it's bad in a lot of ways. And then also too, a lot of the final chapters that are more in depth, because this is one of those books where sometimes a chapter is 2 minutes worth of audiobook narration, and sometimes a chapter is 45 minutes worth of audiobook narration. A lot of these like longer chapters are just him breaking down interesting people he's collaborated with and befriended throughout his life and his relationship with them, and in a lot of cases his experience of their deaths. He's an older guy at this point, and it was really interesting hearing all of that stuff. But my one takeaway from that was, God, I feel like the sort of conditions you had in the previous century to have a bunch of interesting artist dudes going around from city to city, crashing at each other's places, and just collaborating and making interesting stuff out of almost nothing, and just being able to find funding in places they wouldn't expect. Feels like it's really dried up and things are a lot more restrictive, and making things outside of like finding internet crowdfunding it seems almost impossible now, which made me sad. Just like, oh damn, like I feel like we're not going to get a generation of people like Herzog and a lot of his fellow collaborators and the artists that he befriended ever again, maybe, if things are staying on the course that they're at, just because the economic realities of that do not make it feasible to be that type of living, wandering artist really anymore. And that was a little bit of a bummer. Also, too, made me realize sometimes people define friendship as like a person you know for 30 years and you maybe hung out with 12 times, but like you hung out with them for a long, like, you know, like a full week at a time, and then you just don't see each other again for years or really talk, and then you like meet at a party again years later, and like that sort of thing. It's just a very bizarre and alien concept of friendship to me, who is very much so a person about like, oh, I like integrate people into my routine and lifestyle, and those are my friends. And sometimes it's like, no, a friend can be someone you just do not see or think about or talk to for years, catch up with, and then do that again and again and again. And I was like, yeah, I suppose.
Some bonds are transcendent.
Yeah, honestly. The only other thing, and I'm not going to keep long on this just because I'm going to recommend it, but also it's kind of a tough watch. But if you were part of the Nickelodeon generation, I do recommend the tell-all expose documentary about how extremely terrible they treated child actors, up to and including actual pedophilia on set, called Quiet on Set. I believe it's on Max right now, at least in the States, but it's been all over the place. People have been talking about it. First, the majority, actually, I would say, of the documentary covers, like, Dan Schneider and people's experiences on the shows he was show running, and their discomfort with a lot of the stuff they had to do, both in the show, but then also, too, just his behavior behind the scenes. And that includes, like, people who were child actors, people who were staff, a lot of people coming out to be like, I did not like working with this guy. Then also experiences with specific child actors and like people who were like abusive on set towards them, and how, you know, Nickelodeon and the support structure that should have dealt with that in a better manner did not, and let down a lot of these kids. Very, very sad documentary, especially, like, you know, it's hard seeing like things you enjoyed as a child, like, you know, I liked all that in the Amanda Show and Drake and Josh and all that, and to see a bunch of those people come out and just be like, I had a terrible time, it was very traumatic, and like that sort of thing, it's very sad. But, you know, all the love in the world to those people for coming out and, you know, being able to tell their story finally. My one complaint, and it's something that's like unavoidable, and I do not blame any of these people, but like, it's one of those cases where it's a 4-episode miniseries, like, documentary thing, and they talk a lot about people who clearly did not agree to be a part of the show, like Amanda Bynes, Miranda Cosgrove, Josh Peck. Like, there's a lot of the bigger name actors from those show who clearly did not want to be on board with this, or just, like, you know, they're like, I don't have anything to say about this sort of thing. But there's a lot of people talking about them and about their experiences, like, on their behalf in a way. And it just felt a little off at times. Just like, you know, people are being talked about at length, especially Amanda Bynes, and I'm like, I kind of wish she was here to speak for herself a little bit in cases, but, you know, that's just the reality of doing these documentary sort of things, and people don't always, you know, want to come out and do interviews and be on board with the project. So I get it, but yeah, hard watch, but I'd say a good watch if you, you know, were a Nickelodeon kid like I was of a certain era. So
yeah, it fucks me up that like the shit about Dan Schneider was just kind of known by people on the internet for like a decade, and we just kind of just like, yeah, that sure is a thing.
Yeah, it felt really weird how, like, I think about this a lot, because the same thing was also true of, like, Vic Mignogna. Like, there's a lot of this stuff you can find if you know where to look on the internet, and people just talking about, like, experiences at cons. You know, there's always a few people, usually it seems like, with these productions that do speak up a little bit behind the scenes, but they aren't taken seriously, or it just kind of spreads slowly through whisper networks and kind of trickles out to the mainstream. So yeah, but I guess, you know, it's one of those, like, better late than never sort of things, but also, like, Dan hasn't been making stuff for a long time, so it's just like, God, I kind of wish I wish a lot of this stuff came out earlier. So, unfortunate, but so it goes.
Yeah.
Now, do we want to talk about the return of Ultraman?
Nah, there's a Kamen Rider podcast now. Anyway.
Yeah. I watched Fies. That's one of them. I've not watched that one.
Yeah, it's good. Before we start, I just want to give a shout out. Not a shout out, but rest in peace to Minoru Toretta, who died this past week.
The antagonist of Blazer died.
Yeah, so if you watched our Blazer coverage, you know he played Yudobashi, the old guy who was evil. He's been in other roles in other Toku shit, including, probably, from what I can tell, other Ultraman stuff we'll get to in the future.
Okay.
But yeah, he was clearly in the business right up to the end. Died at 80 years old. And rest in peace.
Yeah. All right. Episode 43 of Return of Ultraman. The Demon God Howls at the Moon. Also, the summaries may feel a little different this time around because I wrote them. We didn't realize until, like, yesterday, like, wait, if Red's gone, do we, like, have a summary situation sorted out? And I was like, yeah, and I was like, don't worry about it, Red. Go enjoy your freedom. I am going to do the summaries, so they may feel a little different. So, episode 43. This episode starts with the team sitting around at Mad HQ having a casual conversation, the subject of which is left vague. Captain Ibuki walks in and asks what's the matter, and the team reveals that they're all concerned over the captain not once taking a break since he was assigned to the team. The captain agrees he should use his vacation, and that his family could use it to visit his in-laws, whom they haven't seen in 3 years. Damn. That's a long time to not visit family.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. When the captain states her family lives in Lake Hasune in Shinshu, Minami recounts the legend of the lake's god, who crosses it in late February when it's frozen, causing the ice to loudly crack. Driving to the lake, Ibuki complains to his family that he's only doing this for 1 day, as he doesn't believe a captain should have even a single day of rest.
He makes a point of saying, listen, I'm only doing this because my coworkers told me to.
Which is, okay, also, did you have the thing, because he actually seems really, like, touched and, like, happy about it when he's talking to his coworkers, but when we cut to him actually driving there, he's really pissed off about it. It's a very funny contrast.
It's funny, in the scene, he also, like, the car radio turns on, and he's, like, having a time, then he, like, feels like he just, I have to go on kayfabe again, I have to act like a head ass.
As they drive down a rural road, a mysterious onlooker follows them on foot, clearly up to no good. At his in-law's house, Ibuki apologizes to his father-in-law for not taking more time off, but his father-in-law states that both he and his wife are very proud of their daughter Yoko for marrying the captain of MAT. Yoko's mother speculates that maybe when she's old enough, her granddaughter, Minako, will also marry a member of MAT. Minako is not a fan of this, as she doesn't want to marry someone from MAT. She wants to join MAT. Her grandma reminds her that she's a woman, and this is maybe the most honest Return of Ultraman has ever been in its life.
She even goes, oh, well, Oka's in MAT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which the captain doesn't say anything to, I don't think. I'm like, damn, okay. But then Minako also states that she's pro-woman's liberation. And none of her family takes her seriously, sadly. As it gets late, the family gets ready to leave so they can hear the gods crossing. Ibuki is very unimpressed by this, and he figures that it's just the lake ice cracking, and he decides he's going to go to bed rather than join in on the other for this cultural event.
Sometimes being part of the science team means you're just Neil deGrasse Tyson at all times. Even though this is also a world where kaiju exists.
Mm-hmm. As Ibuki sleeps, Matt heads out on patrol, and Yuko's family joins the rest of the community at the lake. The mysterious man from earlier shows up and schemes to himself, saying that if he can take out Ibuki, Matt will fall apart. He transforms into an alien. He goes to attack Ibuki, but is frustrated because he's talking with Oka over his communicator. He leaves and goes to a nearby shrine, saying something about, "Damn it, even when this guy's drunk, he can't stop working. What the fuck is wrong with him?" It's very good. Also, I think I either autocorrect got me or I wrote it down twice. Is it Yoko or Yuko? It's Yoko, right?
Which one?
I'm gonna look this up now, because this is bothering me.
Who's Yoko?
The wife, correct?
Oh, I didn't get her name at all.
Let's see. Yoko, it's Yoko. Yes, autocorrect
Okay.
must have fucked me over on that last one. The ice cracks at the lake, and community members celebrate it as a sign of a good harvest. Just as Minako expresses disappointment that it's nothing but ice cracking and there's no actual god to be seen, a kaiju breaks out of the frozen lake. A man shouts that the god of the lake is mad, his crossing has been made into a tourist attraction, and the crowd flees in terror. This is very funny to me. I love that guy immediately is like, shit, we sold out. The god's pissed off at us because we made it a tourist trap. Everyone get away.
Yeah, it's good.
It's very funny. The alien uses the confusion to guide Yoko and Minako to false safety. I guess I should clarify, I didn't really write in the summary, but there's a shrine that we see the alien go into that's kind of like tucked away. And this is the same shrine that he brings Yoko and Minako to, trapping them in it as he reveals his true form to them. Ibuki rushes to find his family while the kaiju sinks back down into the lake. And we should say that the kaiju is like a very like traditional like samurai armor like statue.
It's like a god totem from the temple in question.
Yes, exactly. After Ibuki calls Oka for assistance, the alien confronts him and delivers a message to both him and to Matt. You have to disband Matt and destroy its HQ in 24 hours or the captain's family will be killed. As Matt arrives at Yoko's parents' house, a crowd of angry citizens also burst in. They blame Matt for the god's attack, and as things grow tense between the crowd and Matt, Ibuki breaks the tension by promising that Matt will leave as soon as they're able to. There's some real... Matt is not accepted by the citizens. Like, a fist fight nearly breaks out in this scene. It's kind of great. Elsewhere, Minako clings to a crying Yoko as the alien Grotez, I'm assuming is how you're going to pronounce that.
I guess. I don't know why my brain just said Groats, but I feel like that's wrong.
I see, that's the thing, is it might be Groats. I don't want to call it Groats, but
let's look at the Grotesu Seijin. Grotesque then.
Grotesque, okay. Because I figured it was like, is it like grotesque with the...
I think I saw in the trivia that maybe a minute, so yeah.
Okay. Alien Grotesque taunts them, saying that aliens have no use for tears. Yoko does her best to calm Minako, though through her words it is apparent that she believes that they will both die. It is extremely funny to me that Ibuki's family is put into this hostage situation where they know that Ibuki has to choose between work and family, and his wife is just like, oh, he's gonna choose his job over us.
And he does.
And he does! The kaiju once again attacks, this time the town itself, and Matt springs into action, the captain internally apologizing to his family as he goes out to fight. Go stumbles on to Captain Ibuki's in-laws praying, and learns that the kaiju happens to resemble the stone image found at the nearby shrine. Go races to the shrine as the rest of the team fights the kaiju. Also, the kaiju attack's sick as hell. Like, if I recall, it has like a flamethrower that it shoots out of its fingertips, and it's like burning down huts and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's like the same thing that Ultraman does when he puts out the fires.
Mm-hmm. It's good stuff. Seeing that Matt has no intention of bargaining for his hostages' lives, Alien Grotez moves in to kill them. Go arrives just in time, transforming into Ultraman.
I should point out that Grotez is moving very slowly, which gives
very slowly. He wants to savor the moment. Grotez grows giant and does battle against Ultraman outside, alongside the stone kaiju he's controlling. After a fierce fight on the frozen lake, Ultraman sees an opening and slashes Alien Grotez to death with his bracelet cutter, which I meant to ask, what's the proper name? Is it just the Ultra Bracelet? Like, does the actual cutter part have a name?
No, it's just the Ultra Bracelet.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep saying bracelet cutter then.
Also, I feel like in this shot, it looks like the suit is already cut in half.
Yes, it totally does. Like, they pre-split it so that this effect could work. It's very funny. So yeah, this also destroys the stone giant, which Go has been saying. Yeah, Go has been saying this whole episode, like, once we take out that alien, that kaiju's gonna go away. I fucking know it. As Ibuki reunites with his family, Go comes into the shrine with the tiny statue from which the giant kaiju was based. They return it to its altar and pay it a quick prayer. As they all lift their heads up from bowing, they notice the statue is turned around on its own. Minako jokes the god must be embarrassed, and everyone leaves the shrine laughing. I thought this was an alright one. I like that we got an Ibuki episode.
It was fun. Ibuki's more of a guy, weirdly married to the job and also tsundere for his family, question mark.
Yeah, I would have maybe had Ibuki be the I don't like that Ibuki is like, fuck, I got a duty to do, and this my family's just the cost of doing what needs to be done for the good of humanity sort of thing. And it's like, I kind of actually think I would have liked this more if maybe he actually chose his family and then everyone else like was like, okay, well, we got to do something, and then spring into action against his will. Instead, he just rushes out to fight this giant stone kaiju golem thing.
Yeah.
And is just internally like, fuck, I'm really sorry about you guys dying.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is also, he's like, well, if I prioritize my family, I'm justifying the villagers' hatred of Matt. Which I kind of get, but also, it does feel like he's like, he's kind of weird with his family. Like, he does appreciate and love them, but he also feels like he can't be too honest about his feelings, maybe because that's gay or something. I don't know. Fellas, is it gay to love your wife? I do think it's funny that, like, Minako brings up, I believe in women's liberation and I want to be a part of Matt myself and not just be a wife. And she brings up Oka. And we see that Oka is kind of taking charge of Matt when Ibuki is gone, which I think was a nice touch, and it would have been nice to see through more of the show. Yeah. But do you get me thinking, like, oh no, is this going to be an episode where they have a message about feminism? And then no, they don't do anything with that. What actually is like, this is an episode where the moral is, it's okay for me as salaryman to take a vacation, which I'm sure is something the business executives are quite happy to share their answer to the viewing audience.
Yeah.
Ibuki's just like, well, this is what I get for actually taking a day off, huh?
I do like the contrast of the episode about how, sometimes it's okay to take a vacation, leader man, is called The Demon God Howls at the Moon.
Yeah. Also,
what were we saying?
I was just going to say, it's also a bit weird that, just like this is the episode we get with Matt, with Ibuki and his family, when the last time we saw his daughter was like the episode where he's like, oh yeah, I'm proud of my daughter for befriending a disabled child who I go on to kill.
Yeah. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I forgot that was his daughter.
Yeah. Remember, he said, yeah, I'm gonna tell her that her friend was an alien that I killed because you can't lie to children.
Yep, that is true. Red did leave us some thoughts for episode 43. They say, maybe a bit unfair, but seems like a classic case of a narrative about a father caught between his job and his family, and the narrative gives him an opportunity to be a good father by doing his job. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of, being a good father.
Yeah. Which, you know, long legacy from now up until 2023 of of Ultraman being like this.
Yeah, maybe.
So
we have the context now for modern Ultraman's viewing this.
I love how, because we've done Skipping the Queue and we've watched Blazer, I feel like I have some Paul level premonitions about fatherhood and Ultraman's treatment of what it means to be a good dad.
Yeah,
it's very funny how far back this goes and how far to the future it goes.
It's funny having the juxtaposition of like the newest thing and also all the old stuff with none of the stuff in the middle.
Yep, exactly. Like a show somewhere in the middle there could be normal about fatherhood. We'll discover it, but
yeah. What we need is like a feminist writer to write an Ultraman show.
I'd be interested to see what they could do with that.
Someone writes, they got like a girl who's like, man, I love Ultraman, and then someone's like, oh man, maybe one day you could grow up to become the wife of someone who writes Ultraman episodes, and she's like, no, I want to write Ultraman episodes. There's some good women toku writers though, like the writer of Ryuki was a woman, so.
I don't know if I have anything else to say about this episode, so I might as well go into production.
I was just trying to think if there's anything else like I had.
I guess like kaiju and stuff wise, I think I actually like both of these a lot. I like that Alien, if I recall, the Alien Grotez has like weird machine gun hands, right?
Maybe
that's this one. I want to say it's this one.
He's a weird guy. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's got like, they look like ships, kind of. Like
yes,
ship guns.
I thought that the 2-on-1 fight here was really fun with like Matt kind of coming in with the assistant for Ultraman, but I like the idea of like you have one kaiju who is basically invincible, like it's just a massive stone with like fire abilities, and it's like, okay, you got to take out the alien controlling it to take out the actual.
An alien hides behind it.
Fun. Yeah, and he just hides behind it. Yeah, he's a little coward. It's great.
Yeah, Groats is like. I don't know if he's like my favorite design, but I do like he's like a bastard.
Mm-hmm. He's up there for me. When I finished the episode, I was like, I think he's one of my more memorable alien designs from the show.
Yeah. It does feel a bit weird that like we hit like the post, we hit the final stretch of the show, and it feels like things got retooled to be like always an alien plot, and now it seems like there's always an alien and also a kaiju. But I do think they're keeping it fresh at least.
Yeah. No, that's my one big thing I've been saying about the show, and I do appreciate a lot, is I do not feel like... of all of the Ultra stuff we've watched so far, I feel like this is the one that stagnates the least in terms of like, oh, it feels like we've done this one already sort of thing.
Yeah,
like
and I feel like
they do a really good job of mixing things up.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe we felt that more in the first half when things were a bit more rote. Well, I don't know if it was necessarily rote. I think maybe it was just the kaiju sucked, but anyway. Mm-hmm. There definitely was a quality jump when we got past like the Tsunami 2-parter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, do you got writers? Because I got like the kaiju trivia.
Yeah, so the director was Masanori Kake, who again was the guy who made the comedy like Company President series. And makes sense that the guy who did the film series about a company president would direct this episode about boss, it's okay to take a break. And then it was written by Toshiro Ishido.
Okay. As for me, both kaiju, Groats, and the statue Kodaigon are Akihiko Kaguchi designs once again, and once again Takanobu Toya is in the suit for Kodaigon. No idea who's in the Groat suit. We're like Japanese Wikipedia not giving me info on that, and while I'm at it, zero info on who's sculpting these shit. I have no idea who is.
They didn't sculpt it; it was found.
Yeah,
they hired an alien. That's why you're not finding the info.
Yeah, I'm just like, why? Who? Like, I'm getting so much on like Ultra Q of like why. Who is making these guys? But for this show, I'm like, no one... The actual physical making is not present, and also, like, we're not getting really info on, like, who else is in this suit. And, like, maybe it's just, like, another Japan Fighting Actors member who's just uncredited, but,
I almost wonder if maybe this is also a thing where it's, like, Ultra Q has, like... the historical importance of being the first one, so people like really go out to bat to like.
And imagine like a lot of
all those details.
Imagine there's like that's an Ultraman original too, especially because there's like crossover of staff there, and like a lot of the people coming on for Ultra Q are like Toho veterans, so they have pedigree just on account of like there's more info on them because they're on the big movie franchises.
Yeah. The Return of Ultraman is just like a TV show that was made a few years after and might be more like people with less experience or people with less obviously like, you know, acclaimed pedigrees like working on stuff.
And also just like people in TV or any business really not crediting their staff. So yeah, it's a bit of a unfortunate situation where I'm trying to give credit, but it's really hard. But anyway, apparently the Kodaigon design was originally bronze. Iguchi says this is his favorite kaiju, actually. I don't know if he says from the show. Maybe from the show or in general, but like he said it's his favorite, at least from the show, because he felt like the sculpted version actually turned out better than his original design that he drew, which is nice. Also, I do think it's funny that by sheer coincidence, in the past 2 weeks, I just like brought up the Daiei film trilogy Daimajin, just, you know, because it was relevant to trivia, and then now we have Daimajin at home. So that's funny. Funny coincidence. Cool kaiju.
Anything else? Or should we move on to episode 44?
I think we can move on.
Episode 44, To the Starry Sky with Love. I almost started reading the booklet summary, which would have been funny, but no. Go and Kishida are driving at night. Kishida reflects on the fact that he is almost done developing a new radar for Matt and tries to remain humble as Go praises him. The two hear a woman scream and see a lone driver being harassed in her car by two glowing balls of blue flame, which drizzles fire onto the car hood. As the woman is rescued, she yells out Granadas, and Go unsuccessfully attempts to shoot down the floating fire. Kishida leaves to take the woman to the hospital while Go once more attacks the fire, causing it to shriek and then disappear. Now, Mel, I don't know about you, but if I saw two flaming balls of blue fire setting shit on fire, and my friend's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go leave with the one other person here to go take her to the hospital, I think I'd join them. I don't know if I'd stay behind alone.
Well, he's Ultraman.
Yeah. So yeah, Go attacks the fire, causing it to shriek and then disappear. Back at Mad HQ, the team chides Go for shooting at a will-o'-the-wisp, phosphorus in the air that just happened to ignite. Go admits to the rest of the team that they might be right, but he makes a request to Ibuki to investigate. The captain accepts, asking Go to take Ueno with him. Ueno is not super thrilled about this. They also note that Kishida has been frequently visiting the woman they rescued in the hospital. I think they mentioned he's...
we need to backtrack a bit, because they go to the pit, and it's like, Ueno is like... Or, wait, did you get there yet? Or am I just like...
No, that's next. That's next.
That's not... Never mind. Continue. My mind's all
no, because there's the scene starts with them being like... Kishida's at the hospital, and I think Oka says something like, did he go twice in one day, or something
Yeah.
that?
She says that, yeah.
Yeah. Ueno and Go return to the scene of the incident. Ueno suggests that the fires Go may have seen could be souls from children who drowned in the nearby basin, which is a frequent problem when it fills with water.
Yeah. Needs to be double stated. They're like, oh, Go, that's not a kaiju, it's just the ghost of children. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
I think Ueno's taking the only way I can read this is Ueno's taking the piss, because also, too, they follow that up with Go asking Ueno if he has any explanation as to why the car's roof is caved in, and Ueno's like, you've never heard of a rollover accident, stupid? And I'm just like, okay, make up your goddamn mind.
I can't tell what the people in the show think. Like, Ueno was also the horoscopes guy for like the first episode, but then he stopped having a personality for most of the show, so I can't actually tell. It is kind of upsetting that like at some point in the show, like we had Minami as one of the core guys, and then at some point in the show, Kishida became Go's bro instead of Minami, and now Minami's in the back, and Ueno never got anything. So I'm like,
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like the team is maybe the weakest it's ever been. Like, I like Kishida, But, like, I do feel like Uedo and Minami don't get a lot to do. Oka not getting a lot to do. The captain,
Yeah, I feel like it was stronger and, like, that, like, the late teams was probably the strongest the show, the team was at, because then we have Minami is still a guy, Kishida is his max hater still, and Kato is the captain.
Yeah. Which is also ironic because I feel like the parts of the show where the team is the strongest is where the Sakata stuff is maybe less forefronted. Like that kind of makes sense because they're
the focus characters.
Yeah. I think they could have done a better job of balancing that stuff out a little bit more. But this is their first time trying to juggle this many balls, so like I get it. It's hard.
And I think Kishida's still a good guy, but it is funny how he's kind of mellowed out a bunch just by being the bro.
It feels like character development, but also, I'm not sure how much of that was just them shifting in the writer's room, how much of an asshole they wanted to be.
It's hard to tell like how much of this is like actual subtle character work and how much of it is just like, oh, this is just the show is now.
Yeah. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. I'm going to say that Kishida became more of a bro.
Yeah, we construct narratives in our mind, and like sometimes we're on the mark.
Let's see. So they talk about how it was probably just a rollover accident because, how could that much force crush a car from above like that? That's not how car accidents work.
Well, I don't know. I know. What's your job?
In fact, I'd say that there's a lot of things that you have personally fought that could apply a lot of pressure from directly above. Kishida returns to Mad HQ and tells Go he also thinks the flames were nothing. He believes that they were flames of good fortune and tells Go that he might be married soon, though the identity of his fiancée is a secret. When Go brings up the possibility of interviewing the woman the two rescued that night, Kishida quickly tells Go that won't be possible as she needs complete rest still, in the most suspicious way possible. Later that day, Jiro and Rumiko tell Go that Kishida has been regularly going to the hospital all dressed up, and Go realizes he's probably been lied to. We cut to Kishida and the woman speaking in private in her hospital room. I almost said hotel room. As Kishida gives the woman flowers, he explains he will soon complete the world's most powerful radar. Upon hearing the news, the woman seems to get a piercing headache and asks that he leave. Back at the basin, a kaiju breaks out of the ground and begins to attack the nearby quarry workers. As Kishida receives this news, he goes back into the hospital room and speaks with the woman, who we learned is named Akane. She tells him that she can't see him anymore, but asks that he take a weird piece of jewelry along as a memento of her, which clearly hurts Kishida because he thought that there was something special between these two. Matt begins the attack and Go realizes the screaming he heard when he shot the blue flame was the monster's roar. Kishida convinces Go to let him have the car, and as soon as Go is out of the vehicle, he rushes towards the monster, dodging its explosive projectile attacks and long tongue. This tongue is so fucking funny.
I mean, it's like, this isn't the first time we've had a tongue effect like this, but yeah, it's...
Well, I think it's just the fact that it's lashing out at a fucking car. That's just like, He uses the car's armaments to deal damage to the beast, but crashes it when he gets too close to the legs. It kind of kicks the car away. The monster burrows underground and Go rushes over to the crashed vehicle. Kishida gives the memento to Go, telling him that he can't stand seeing it anymore, as it just reminds him of his emotional pain. He asks that he give it back to Akane, but Go refuses, telling him to hold on to it himself. Later, Akane is excited to learn she has a visitor at the hospital, thinking that it's Kishida. However, she is quickly distraught as she realizes that it is in fact Go. He accuses her of not being human and having something to do with the recent monster attack. Akane explains that both she and the monster, Granadas, came to Earth from planet Centaurus to destroy this new radar project. However, as Akane spent time on Earth, she grew to love humanity. Because of this betrayal, she was almost killed by Granadas. When she realized that the man who saved her and the person who she fell in love with was the man responsible for the radar's creation, she felt it would be wrong to continue dating him because of the duplicity. Rumiko and Jiro are out riding bikes at this time when they oversee the two talking on the hospital bench. This scene felt pointless and like a weird way to introduce these two to the episode that they can be around at the end.
Yeah, I mean, Jiro did see them earlier. I guess they get spiked there, but also it's like, why are you here? Why are you in this episode, actually?
Wait, when did Jiro... I don't remember the first time. When did Jiro...
He saw Kushida go dressed up with a bouquet and told Go about it.
I think I might have missed that. But yeah, it is weird that these people, like, these two need to be here. Yeah. Akane receives another splitting headache at this time, which she reveals to be orders from her home planet to her in Granadas. She tells Go that as soon as the radar is destroyed, invaders from her world will come to conquer Earth. She asks him to help her defeat Granadas, revealing that she knows its weaknesses. I would say that's maybe a little bit of a reach for what happens, but back at the quarry, Ibuki orders the rest
technically she does know the weakness, and she does help defeat it, but that's not the, the spirit of the message.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I think that all Pokemon are weak to self-destruct in a way. Back at the quarry, Ibuki orders the rest of Matt to charge in to fight Granadas, but tells Kishida he needs to stay behind, both because of his emotional attachment to the radar project, affecting his ability to fight rationally, and also because his injured leg hampers his mobility, making him more of a liability than an asset. Go arrives on scene with Akane, much to Kishida's dismay.
Also, I just want to... this part where the Matt runs out is memorable to me, because at some point, Ibuki just goes, "Bazooka!" And they fire a bazooka. And it's
yes! No, it's so good. Like, this actually feels the most like a war scene from like a honest-to-God war movie that any of these have ever felt. Like, they're just charging out, there's explosions all around them.
Turns out, I might actually be more engaged when, like, Matt's on the ground dodging explosions, then I just see them like go doing barrel rolls with their planes in the air for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. That being said, there is a scene next episode that sold me on the arrow more than I think anything else in the show.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But let's see, where were we? Okay, yeah, I don't really talk about it here, but they share some like words of like I don't remember if this is where they both kind of say like "I love you" to each other, but like they share a moment here.
Yeah, I think there is like a "I love you" moment there, with some interesting shots in the sunlight reflection stuff.
Yeah, they share a quick little moment before springing into action more. As Go is burned by the blue flame of the monster, he transforms into Ultraman. Granadas gets the upper hand, using his tail and the blue fire to subdue him. Akane says her farewell to Kishida, revealing her true nature to him, as well as her love.
As well as the fact that she has explosives in her body.
Yep, she reveals that her body is packed with explosives that were originally meant to destroy the radar. I have some thoughts about this, but we'll go back to them later. As Ultraman crawls out of the blue flame, Akane rushes in, transforming into her giant alien self, and grapples with Granadas. Now, does this count as a giant woman? For our series tracker.
I feel like it's not the spirit of the thing, because it is a woman, and she's big, but she's like in kaiju form, and like the point is like, it's a big human on the big set.
Yeah. See, these are the questions we need to ask to well define our silly in-joke boundaries.
Which is why like we count, even though they're not women, we count Big Ippei and Jun. More on that later, by the way.
Yeah. Nice. So, as Ultraman crawls out of the blue flame, Akane rushes in, transforming into her giant alien self and grapples with Granadas. They fall off the side of a cliff together, exploding as they hit the bottom. Ultraman flies off. I will say it was a little bit funny where Ultraman just, like, it cuts to him looking at this, and then he just flies away.
Yeah, he just peeks down, it's like, oh, well, cool.
He's like, well, this is not my problem anymore. Last paragraph. Kishida places flowers at the grave made for Akane, and Go comforts him. He tells Kishida to cheer up, as he's the first human on Earth to do something extraordinary. Touch the heart of an alien.
I don't think that's true. I don't think
that's true.
I think we can count at least maybe 3. I don't know. I think we can count a few more.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Jiro and Rumiko just show up at some point.
Yeah, as Jiro reflects on the tragedy of the situation, Rumiko states that someday everyone living in the universe will one day become friends. Ibuki requests
someday we will all understand each other in the conversations to come.
Yeah. Ibuki requests a moment of silence, and the entire team salutes the grave. Yeah. Okay. So, this is like a weird thing that I can't stop thinking about this episode, because I was like, okay, yeah, like this is a classic story of like, you know, the enemy falling in love with the enemy and deciding that your love for them outweighs your loyalty to, you know, whatever power you're working for, sort of thing. The one thing that like kind of, I don't know, like colors my perspective on this or makes it a little bit more interesting for me to think about, the part where she reveals like, yeah, my entire body is made up of explosive material, like, and there's a lot of ambiguity here as to like, was this something she opted into as part of her mission? Was this something that like her superiors did to her? Like, but regardless, like, the entire time, Akane is operating under this assumption that, like, my body has been made into a living bomb. I cannot fall in love with this guy and live, like, a normal relationship out with him no matter what. So she decides to use what she has to sacrifice herself to save humanity. I don't know, something about that just, like, stuck with me. How do you feel about this episode?
I think it's a good episode. I do feel like there's obvious limitations to this, because, like, I feel like, oh, the alien loves Kushida. Well, it's not like she's going to survive to the end of the episode, because I feel like that's never how it goes, but I do think the execution is good. I do like the conversation she has with Go, where she's like, you're Ultraman, you're like me, but you're a good guy. Editorial note.
And I'm evil.
We changed this. And I'm a bad guy. And I don't know what to do about that. And I guess like the fact she didn't really have a choice because she is a bomb complicates things, where it's like, well, she was kind of chained to her fate. But yeah, I do think it was effective. I do think, you know, good episode with Kushida.
We're getting a lot of like character focused stuff right towards the end here. It's interesting.
I think that's good though.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, him getting to be like the guy who like falls for someone, and like I like that he doesn't care that she's an alien. Or really anyone. Like, it's nice that Matt isn't, when the context allows for it, they aren't just going to be haters on aliens. But I feel like they're allowed to be. Sometimes,
well, you know, there's a monster attack team.
Yeah.
The aliens they're neutral towards when they're behaving.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't have much to say about the episode.
I don't either. I had a good time.
Yeah.
Let's see what Red had to say.
The explosions are good.
Oh, the explosions are. The blue fire looks nice too, actually. They're on a colored fire kick, actually, this batch of episodes.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk
like
about
next
next time.
too.
But episode 44 for Red's thoughts. Once again, the sympathetic alien must die, and the best we can do is dream of a better tomorrow. My one thing with this episode, I don't think Jiro and Rumiko need to be here. Like, that almost felt like well, we need to get the actors in so you can, like, you know, give them some work sort of thing. I don't know. It felt
maybe you should have done that earlier in the show.
Yeah. I do think that it would be a stronger episode without the very way too optimistic, one day everyone in the universe is going to be best friends. It's like, okay, come on, that...
Yeah, if only those aliens would stop invading us. We can be out with them. But don't worry, that's what Ultraman's for.
One day we'll be friend Bolton Jr.
One day...
Well, I guess we can't... Bolton Jr., you know, Bolton the Third. Surely things...
Me walking on to, like, the big space opera battle between the Ultra beings and the Bolton army, and then I just hand the Bolton Jr. a can of Diet Pepsi. And then we all come together.
I'm drinking a Pepsi Zero right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait. I put the booklet away before talking about who made this. So episode 44 was once again directed by Masanori Kake and then written by Shigemitsu Taguchi, which this feels like a Taguchi episode. He's done... let's see, what else did he do? He did the Abominable Snowman episode. And Jiro Rides a Monster and others of that ilk. What a guy. What a guy. And there's one more. I know there's one more. Oh yeah, he also did Revenge of the Monster Boy with the most unhinged child of all time. Fucking Ella Dortus. What a that episode lives rent free in my brain. Do you have any kaiju notes?
Yeah. Surprise, it's the same people again. Aguchi did the design. Toya did the suit acting. No idea who's in the alien suit. But the actress for Akane is Akane Yuko. Also, I forgot to mention the special effects director for both the past two episodes was Yoichi Minoda. So, and also, I think I saw way back when I was reading the Ultra Blog DX page on this that apparently this episode was pretty popular.
I can see it.
And also attracted a lot of women to watch the show because they're like, hey, there's a romance.
I think of the three we got this batch, this is probably my favorite. I actually like all three of these quite a bit, but
yeah. I had this thought when we were talking about this episode that this sounds mean, but this does feel like the quote-unquote Oscar bait episode of the batch.
It does a little bit.
Where it's like, oh yeah, of course this is the episode that people like. It does feel like it hits the beats of like, this is what a good emotional resonant Ultraman episode is.
Yeah.
About me, I like to say it's bad. It's just like, it's like you can kind of almost tell like, oh yeah, this is the one that people like, obviously.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's like independent of quality. But yeah, it's a good episode, I think. Shame we got that alien suit for like 2 seconds, and the only angle I have of it is when they're doing the kaiju sorter, but
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to assume every time we don't know who's in the suit that they got an actual alien for the show.
Yeah. Just like how Gento's kid is played by a new kid every time.
Yeah. And how the walrus in the sky was a real walrus in the sky. No. Shoutouts to Totola.
Yeah.
Nobody loves you, but I do.
It is funny that, like, Totola is an actual walrus, but the actual kaiju he's stealing the suit from apparently was just a reptile for some reason. I don't know why. In, like, the notes, they're like, this is technically a reptile. I'm like, why? It's a walrus.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to episode 45?
Yeah, I think we got everything.
Yeah, all right. Episode 45 is Assassinate Hideki Go. Let me find the start of my summary. There we go. A giant fire-breathing rat monster. They call this thing a rat monster. It is clearly like... It has like an armadillo shell. I don't know.
I think it looks pretty rat-like. It's got the tail, it's got the face.
The face and the tail, but then also it's like a little armadillo core on the torso. And I was like, what's going on here?
It's a steel type.
Yeah. Attacks the city while Matt and Ultraman engage it in combat. When Ultraman defeats the kaiju, it's revealed to be a mechanical construct that first burns in a green flame and then crumbles apart. Like I was saying, really on a colored fire kick this episode.
Next time we need red fire.
Yeah.
That'd be novel.
Yeah, exactly. The team celebrates, though Go complains about an arm injury. As Matt leaves the scene... Also, I just want to point out, I did not think this arm injury was going to be as important as it was. I had to go back into the summary and add this line.
Yeah. He gets bit... I did notice that the camera is lingering on him getting bitten for a bit. I was like, this might be important.
Yeah.
Especially because it's the fight at the beginning of the episode, but
Yeah. It is kind of fun that in a way, the big kaiju fight here is at the start.
Yeah, but that's also why I thought like the injury might be important. Because I was like, well, if it was at the end of the episode, I wouldn't care that much. But
Yeah. As Matt leaves the scene, a young girl with a bizarre high-tech headband with a flashing red light on it curses Ultraman. We see the girl slip an object into a woman's purse at an airport. We cut to Go visiting Dr. Hamamura, who states his arm injury shares similarities to a rat bite. The doctor orders Go to take some time off, forcing Go to cancel his upcoming ski trip.
nobly goes like, I don't think I got bit by a rat.
Yeah.
I don't think. Probably.
Yeah. In the airplane, the woman flags down a flight attendant and gives her the strange pen-like object, saying it doesn't belong to her and she isn't sure where it came from. The attendant takes it and notices that it's, in fact, ticking. As people realize it's a time bomb and everyone freaks out, the attendant panics and throws it to the ground. The plane fucking explodes, killing everyone on board.
Rip.
So we've had like planes blowing up out of the sky before, like ships blowing up. Like, you know, we've had public transport with like casualties before. This one felt different to me because we spent some time in the cabin, like
this is the first time we see the
moments leading
people
up to tragedy.
Yeah, this is the first time we really see the people who are like about to explode. Except for like maybe a couple times we are like seeing fire pilots where we see the pilots explode. We don't see the passengers explode.
Yeah, and like that feels different because it's like these are people like, to some extent, when you are agreeing to like pilot or like commandeer something like this or whatever, it's like, okay, you know, like, you know that this comes with some risk or whatever and things could go catastrophically wrong. But this is like literally just a flight attendant and like and I mean, flight attendants know what they're doing too. Like, I mean, they're trained professionals who are very good at, you know, in times of crisis sort of thing, making sure everyone's safe. But like, this is just some lady who wanted to go on a flight and a little brat alien controlled child puts a fucking time bomb in her purse. It's so fucked up.
Yeah, they'll die.
Yeah, everyone's dead now.
That reminds me, I don't know if I invented this, but I feel like in the aughts, there was this cliche in like all the crime shows my parents would watch on TV where like someone would be nervous about flying and then someone was like, don't worry, it's the safest way to travel. And then a crisis would happen. And I'm like, damn, they really do this cliche every time, huh? I don't know about that.
I was afraid of flying. I was afraid of flying as a kid. We only actually did it one time, and it's when we went to Disney, and I got over it. Now I fly like every fucking year. It's ridiculous. I actually still don't really like flying all that much, but that's more because I fucking hate airports. But, you know. Yeah,
I didn't enjoy flying for 12 hours to Japan.
Yeah.
That's more the length.
That sounds miserable. I would like to do that at some point in my life, but that sounds
even just
wrong.
Like loading up my phone with shows to watch to pass the time, it was still like, it's hard, especially because I'm not someone who sleeps easily, and especially because the bulk of the flight was on like a really tight and compact airplane. Yeah,
fuck that.
Yeah, I should just take a boat to Japan next time.
Yeah, there you go. I think I'll walk.
Oh, you do you.
Yeah. So,
anyway.
Yeah. As Matt goes to investigate this explosion, we learn that Go was supposed to be on board the plane for his ski trip. We cut to Jiro's classroom, where the teacher introduces the mysterious new girl to the rest of the class. We learn her name is Erika Shiratori. Her seat is assigned next to Jiro's, and his friends tease him all about it.
You know this is a different era of Japanese television, because the main character isn't seated at the window, he's seated in the center of the class.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
It was just, I don't think it actually means anything. I think it's just like, you know.
Yeah. On the playground, Jiro invites Erika to play baseball with his friends. She hands him a pen similar to the one used earlier to blow up the plane. Back at home, Go spots the pen ticking and throws it out the window, saving Jiro and himself from certain death. I sure hope that was a field overlooking that window.
Yeah,
that he threw it out too. This is a good scene though, because Jiro's like, yeah, I've always wanted a pen like this, and then goes like, ugh, and then throws it out the window, and Jiro's like, what the fuck, dude? I've always wanted a pen like that. And then there's an explosion, and like glass shards cover them as Go protects Jiro.
I think the moment leading up to this scene is fun too. It's like Go is like really in bad shape. He's in bad shape through the whole episode. You can see like they have like the extremely worn out sick makeup on. Yeah. He's just like, Jiro comes home and he's like, don't worry, Go, I'll make food for you. And he's like, nah, I'm fine. You just do your homework. And Jiro's like, homework. I don't know. I like the dynamic of seeing them, living together.
Yeah, it's good. Where was I? Back at Mad HQ, the team and Jiro speculate as to why this child could want to assassinate Go. They receive a call from Oka and leave to go track down Erika. Jiro convinces Go to take him along. Literally, they're driving out. I think is it Go and Kishida are driving out?
Yeah, I know. I know because I took this screenshot and posted it on the account, being like, "Oh, this is the Blowjob Brothers."
But then Jiro's like, "Hey, what the fuck, dude? I feel like this is one I could hop in on," and Go's like, just this once." Not responsible.
Yeah. I do think it's funny that like Jiro at this point does to say, yeah, she kept asking me when Go would come home, so I guess that's why he said that she's at the timer that way. I'm like, how is this a natural conversation you were not suspicious of? You just be like, oh, by the way, who's the person you live with, Go? When is he coming home? Anyway, here's this pen.
Does he sleep near a window? Are there any vantage points from that looking onto that window? No. That's Mirror Man more than this. No. They spot Erika and give chase, and it quickly becomes apparent she is not a normal child. She leaps from a tall apartment building to the ground below without harm, and flashes a strange ring device in their faces to hold them off. Jiro manages to shoot not Jiro. Go manages to shoot the headband off of her head.
Yeah, what happens is Jiro tackles her. That's how he's able to shoot it off.
Yes, Jiro tackles her, and then Go makes the ballsiest shot of his fucking life, and manages to shoot off the headband. She doesn't seem to remember anything about being controlled, however. Back at Mad HQ, the team hooks up Erika to some sort of weird hypnosis device. This reminded me a lot of like the weird like Ippei's soul leaving his body shit from Ultra Q.
I immediately thought this is like the spiritual successor.
Yeah. Erika says that she comes from planet number 61 of Constellation Cygnus, which was attacked one day by alien Messi. He killed her father and kidnapped her from her mother, forcing her to obey his orders via the headband. As Matt goes out to investigate, the alien manages to create another headband out of thin air and take control of Erika once more, forcing her to choke out Dr. Hamamura, who was watching over her.
I wonder what happens to him.
Yeah. While Matt investigates the pier for signs of alien Messi. Okay, also, I was gonna add, why did they go to the pier? Was that just like, oh, we think he's over?
Yeah, I guess I figured that, like, Erika was headed there, so that was where Messi's base was.
Oh, okay.
That's where I found her before, right? So.
Yes, true. Oka shows up and tells Go that Dr. Hamamura has showed up out of nowhere and wants to meet Go in private to discuss his rat bite wound.
Yeah, in the warehouse, right over there.
In the warehouse, alone, in private, away from everyone else.
And Ibuki says, yeah, go do that. And Go's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
The doctor pulls out a syringe, telling Go it will help him
It does
heal.
need to be pointed out, the doctor is in a fedora and trench coat.
He is! The doctor pulls out a syringe, telling Go it will help him heal. Erika is there as well. Go sees through the ruse and pulls off Erika's hat, but as he does so, he is injected by the doctor, who reassures him it's just an anesthetic. As Go's vision becomes blurry, he pulls his hat back to reveal he too has a mind control headband underneath. Alien Messi appears out of thin air and shoots Go with a laser beam, igniting him in green fire. The alien grows giant, causing Matt to attack as the warehouse collapses atop an injured Go. Ueno and Minami fly in with the arrows, engaging the monster in combat. At one point, Ueno's arrow is set on fire by the alien's laser. Ueno decides to quickly extinguish this by forcing the arrow to dive into the nearby bay and then pop out again. This is honestly some of the thick, like the sickest shit we've gotten.
Like it's ridiculous because planes don't do that, but also, you know what, the arrows need a bit of a glow up. Yeah,
it was cool. Sometimes Thunderbird stuff is cool. I gotta see that to Red.
Editing Red here. Sometimes, Brad. Sometimes.
During the fight, the alien takes the Doctor and Erica hostage. This looks ridiculous. He just kind of like,
Yeah.
it's like a superimposed hand, like grabs them out of thin air. It's so funny.
I don't think green screen was at the level.
No.
In this era. It's fine. It's
Like,
fine.
literally, like, the hand comes down and scoops them up, and they just kind of vanish that are in the hand. It's so funny. Ultraman appears out of the wreckage of the warehouse just in time, saving the hostages and doing battle with the alien. Alien Messi shoots Ultraman with his beam, stunning him temporarily and giving the invader an advantage. He focuses his offense on Go's weakened arm. Ultraman finds his footing and shoots eye lasers of his own at the alien, stunning him in return. He finishes the alien off with his bracelet cutter, freeing Dr. Hamamura and Erica from their headbands. They just come flying right off. Later, Go gets out of the hospital and Jiro gets a letter. It's from Erica. She tells him that she has to transfer schools, but thanks him and his friends for their kindness towards her. As the group wonders if she was truly an alien, Go points out a rainbow has appeared in the distance, and Jiro looks on it wistfully. This was
fun.
I think this was maybe my least favorite of the three, but I still like this one quite a bit.
I think that makes sense. This is a bit of a messy episode. It does feel a bit like
I see what you did there.
oh.
Like the alien.
Oh. See, it's good when I do it intentionally, but not when it's by accident. Yeah, I think it's fun. There was some fun stuff. It did feel a bit like a Bizarre World version of the Stolen Ultra Eye, which is a masterclass episode compared to this one, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe I've thought about this. That might actually just be my favorite episode we've watched for this
that's fair.
series.
It's a really good one.
Like, it's the, like, pound for pound, I think Ultra Q is still my favorite show, but the Stolen Ultra Eye is just a masterpiece.
Yeah, I don't know if I could pick a favorite episode. I'm already bad at that stuff, but yeah, it's definitely...
It's either that one or the, oh god, I'm forgetting their name. The people who live out in the sea.
Numalt. That's probably my...
Yeah,
I think that might be my favorite episode, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, wait, I like, my favorite episode is actually, the dinosaur tank.
So true.
Still true. One of these days we're gonna need to do like a here's our best of the best cream of the crop episode list.
Oh, that'd be fun. I would like to do that. Once we get to the end of like this first batch of Showa stuff, I think that would be
I think I don't know. I think we're in the second batch of Showa stuff, but I wonder if maybe it's better to wait to the end of the third batch of Showa stuff, which is shorter. But
possibly.
We'll see. We're making zero promises on this show, except that we will keep watching Ultraman.
Yeah. I think that the alien design is kind of fun. I don't really care for the rat thing at the start.
I kind of like the rat as like it is a big rat and it serves its role as like the goon that gets beaten. I like the robotic skeleton.
I do enjoy that the rat bite is a constant presence this episode as like a problem.
Like even when it's not drawn, they don't draw attention to it, but you see like they put the makeup on Go's face in like even the mat meetings that he's just fighting for his life. In at least his immune system is. It's good. I do think it's sociopathic the way Minami's just shocking like, oh damn, I thought you were a goner because the plane you're on exploded.
Yeah.
But it is nice that like you see in the scene like before Go steps in, everyone's like there's tension because they're like, did Go just fucking die?
Yeah.
It is funny. It would have been funny if they're like, damn, Go's not playing, he died, and he comes in going, oh. And then they all go laugh in the sunset. Oh, Go, you and your immortality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Messi feels a bit pulpy. He's definitely a bit more like he feels less, in terms of alien design, he feels less like the weird Super Eye staple and feels more like the gray man type of shit, I think.
Yeah. He's all green, he has weird like red and yellow eyes.
Yeah. He's the ET that you'd kill with hammers.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny that Go plays baseball with like 10-year-olds.
Hey, you know. Sometimes you're looking after a kid and you need to play
Yeah,
sports with
I
them.
guess he's like, well, you're my bro now.
Yeah.
I'm your brother, Jiro. Also, Ibuki is my dad.
Yeah.
Ibuki has to be a parent of his own, but
A truly patchwork family.
I do wonder if Ibuki is more enthusiastic of being Go's dad than he is like his actual biological family.
Well, he sees him more often.
That's true. Found family is for people who abandon their own families, I guess. That's not.
Yeah.
Don't actually follow that.
That's how that works. Yeah, just overall solid, pretty alright episode, I'd say. Like I said, I don't think it's as tightly put together as the first two we watched here, and the emotional resonance isn't as deep as some of the moments from those first two, but it's fun. You get to see a fucked up plane explosion because the little girl's just like, teehee, I'm gonna put a bomb in your purse.
Yeah. What was the last time we had a fucked... Oh, wait, we had the Beacon episode. I think it was the last time we got some fucked up plane explosions.
Yeah. Let's see what Red had to say about episode 45. This incident of betrayal will not help Jiro's problem with women. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. I don't have anything else. Should we go into production stuff?
Yeah, let's get to this. May as well.
The director was Noboru Kaji, which at first I was like, is that a new name? No, he just hasn't fucking directed anything in a while for this show. Let me go all the way back to... I want to say it's even the first couple batches of episodes here. The last thing he directed for this show was episode 19, The Invisible Giant Monster from Outer Space. Which is the one where the meteorite falls and grows into a giant invisible monster. And has the dumb little trunk.
I do feel a bit silly that at some point I'm going to have to eventually do run back for the first half of this show's kaiju, but that's okay.
Yeah,
So it goes.
The other episodes he did was Revenge of Monster Shugaran, which is the one where that's the one where they're doing the special training through the fire hoops and shit, and that those dudes on motorcycles harass that one lady.
Yeah.
And there's the famous painter who was dead or whatever.
Yeah. That was weird.
And then also the Kishida Nepo Baby, My Father Made Bad Poison, Uwu, I'm Sad.
Oh yeah, Tetsuo Kenjo's very last episode of Ultraman ever.
Yeah. And I think that was it. Yeah, that's all the Kaji stuff. So that's the run back on him. This was written by a guy named Masao Saito, who, I'm going to be honest, I searched for an hour. I could not find shit on this guy, at all. The most I can tell you is he wrote for this show, and he seems to have written a couple episodes for shows that we are going to watch shortly, the ones following this. At the very least, I think Ace may be the one after too, but no personal information whatsoever. No Wikipedia article, bare bones IMDb, just, yeah, I couldn't find anything. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any kaiju notes?
Yeah, they're the same for both kaiju. Another Gucci design, another Toya suit, acting role. Nothing on the aliens, I don't think. Well, actually, no. I think Toya was in both of them this time just because they weren't in the same scene, so they were able to use them twice. Special effects director is Kazuo Sagawa. Erika is played by Junko Kawasaki.
Mm-hmm. Well.
Yeah.
I'm now thrust into the part of the show where I have to remember what order we do our bits in. Do you have color timers?
Yeah, I got color timers. You remembered correctly.
I nailed it.
Episode 43, 3 minutes, 13 seconds.
Okay, a little bit over.
Episode 44, 3 minutes, 3 seconds.
Oh, even so close, so close.
Episode 45, 2 minutes and 2 seconds for the first fight.
All right.
And then 2 minutes, 42 seconds for the second fight.
Okay, they did it.
Yeah. And now time for our Ultra Q runback section. This is going to be actually pretty hefty. Got some heavy hitting guys this week. So first of all, the 1/8 project. As I alluded to earlier, the special effects director for this episode was Sadamasa Arakawa, who is also the special effects director for episode 2, Goro and Goro, which is why I haven't brought it up again yet. Arakawa, during the war, saw one of Tsuburai's Toho propaganda movies, and he really thought the planes in it looked cool, so he enlisted to be a pilot.
Holy shit.
Apparently,
propaganda works.
Apparently, he thought it was the real thing, and it was a documentary. Put a pin in that.
Okay.
He joined, a bit later after the war, he joined Toho via connections, because he had a cousin who was working as an actress, so he was able to get on board. At some point, he quit Toho during the union dispute of 48, because he was anti-union, and he didn't like how the company was now being pushed by the union's directives, I guess, or something like that.
Damn, I can't believe someone who is extremely susceptible to military propaganda would also be anti-union.
Yeah. Anyway, during this time, he heard the Tsuburai was also not at Toho for different reasons, partially because of the U.S. government, and he was like, "Damn, I gotta hit him up," and he just went over to the place because he heard about it where it was from someone.
He just showed up at his house?
Yeah. I think that's just a thing you could do back in the day, more than today.
I was about to say, to anyone listening at home, don't fucking do that. Anyways.
So yeah, we were both Toho people, right?
Yeah.
It was during this conversation that Eiji Tsuburaya was like, actually, those are models, those are special effects. That wasn't a documentary. Apparently they had a mutual love of aviation, and that got the ball rolling, and they were talking throughout the rest of the night. This kickstarted a long-lasting friendship between the two, where Arikawa ended up being Tsuburai's personal mentor. Tsuburaya was kind of his mentor, and he was kind of his protege, and Arikawa even affectionately called him Oyaji. And this is the part where I kind of realized maybe I need to do a run back on Eiji Tsuburai's bio, at least for his interwar, post-war, but before Godzilla part especially, because I feel like there's just a whole bunch of stuff I'm learning about him. I'm like, damn, we could have talked about that in our first episode of Ultra Q, but we didn't. He was up to some shit, I guess. But anyway, Arikawa became a contract worker for Toho in 1950. His debut on kaiju stuff was, of course, Godzilla, where he was a cameraman, and he'd work along with, again, with Tsuburaya and a bunch of other kaiju stuff. Because both him and apparently Eiji Tsuburaya as well had experience with piloting. They would also, for certain movies like Rodan, fly in a Cessna together to shoot stuff for aerial special effects. Interesting. 2 guys in a Cessna. I wonder if that'll show up again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Truly, Arikawa is the Ippei to Eiji Tsuburaya's Jun. Interesting enough, Arikawa's love of aviation came from the fact that he was a fighter pilot and his experience there, whereas Tsuburaya's came from a more idealist notion of, oh, isn't it lovely that humans can fly? Which is funny. Later in the 60s, Eiji Tsuburaya was seeing the writing on the wall of the growth of the TV industry and the blue ocean there, and that's why he established Tsuburaya Productions. However, Arikawa was actually vocally opposed to this, as he didn't see much place or value in TV and its ability to grow, and he didn't really like the idea of doing special effects for a small screen. Eventually, he would still be brought over on Ultra Q, as we're talking about it right now. He was still brought on pretty early, back when Ultra Q was still Woo. However, his experiences working on these TV shows did confirm to him that he was more comfortable working on film than on the television industry. Within that same year, as Ultra Q and Ultraman's debut, 1966, he basically took over Eiji Tsuburaya's position as lead director for Toho's Ebara, Horror of the Deep, and he basically became the number 2 guy after Tsuburaya, and I think basically the head guy to some degree, because Tsuburaya, I guess, has his own projects now. They get his own studio. Mm-hmm. He would also later be the head special effects director for Son of Godzilla, the 1967 movie, And then following that, Space Amoeba, the 1970 movie that came basically right after Aegis Subarai's death. It's funny enough, the inspiration for Son of Godzilla was actually in a bit like a tribute, or in like, it was in tribute to the fact that Arikawa's sort of like coming to his own and succeeding Tsuburaya, where some of the staff were like, oh yeah, like Eiji Tsuburai's quote-unquote son or protege has taken up his mantle, and now maybe Godzilla can also have a kid, kind of, was the idea. Which is, that's that's a weird, interesting meta story going on there.
I was about to say, I feel like the one recurring thing from doing this podcast is nobody involved with the entire Kaiju Tokusatsu project is normal about fatherhood.
No. It's also funny that it's like, oh yes, the son of Godzilla represented by Arikawa, and you know, not Tsuburai's actual son. It's okay. While Arikawa was doing Son of Godzilla, Hajime was doing Seth Master Bruce's as Alien Cool and the Shadow Dead Guys in Ultra 7.
So true.
So true. Apparently Arikawa was stricter and more hands-on, while Eiji was tend to be more like let the creatives do their thing kind of a guy in terms of direction. Also, his experience as a cameraman also led to more interesting use of camera angles and composite shots, and he tried to give kaiju more of a quote-unquote biological reality. In 71, he ended up quitting Toho because he was like, well, Eiji's dead, so what's the point? Though he was eventually in 1972 he did like get brought back again for one last thing of working on a Warrior of Love, Rainbow Man, which is a TV show Toho was trying to work on. So yeah, eventually he died in 2005 at the age of 80.
Rip.
Now for the X episode itself. Apparently there's another Hajime Tsuburaya episode. Incidentally enough. Hajime got the idea based on an incident from the filming of Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, where a staff member fell asleep behind the set and then stood up during the production. The original draft for this episode had the gang wander into the year 3964, in a future where the 1/8 project was already implemented in a reality. There was a possibility that because this episode didn't have an obvious kaiju, it was not going to make the cut, and they weren't going to make it. But at some point, TBS producer Tsuyoshi Sakurai was like, oh, well, you got like Big Jun and Ippei running around in the city. That probably counts as a kaiju, right? And then the episode got pushed into production. So I'm like, well, I'm glad you understood our vision. Apparently, like a film technique called matte compositing, which is, you know, a combination of different foreground and background layers, was used to simulate small Yuriko standing next to the phone and dialing it. There's probably a lot of issues by the staff trying to get the phone to work, like get the dial to turn, and also at some point it got broken and had to reshoot it, so, you know.
Nice.
Also, the pencil that Sakurai uses as Yuriko to write the big letter is apparently an actual big pencil prop with an ink nib attached to it, and she still owns it, and she still keeps it, which is fun.
That's so fun.
That's a good episode.
Yeah.
You know what's a less good episode?
Yeah.
The episode with Pagos.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? All three of the episodes are Arikawa special effects director episodes, so get that out of the way. And the suit actor for Pagos, little known guy, I don't know if you heard him before, Haruo Nakajima.
No.
Yeah, well, let me tell you about him. He was a teenager during the war. He wanted to become a pilot. I think he maybe went to military school, but like the war ended before he could actually do stuff. And then 1947, at age 18, he went to acting school and started to work at Toho. His debut, technically, was Akira Kurosawa's Stray Dog. But in a twist of fate, all of his scenes were not in the movie and got cut. So he wasn't actually in that movie. he ended up joining a union in 1950 because apparently at Toho, non-payment as compensation was the norm. And he had a previous job as a driver in previous years, and he was scraping by on his savings. So it was rough. Contrast to Arikawa, I guess. At 53, at age 24, he would end up being the first person in Japan to do a stunt where his body was on fire. Notably, apparently professional stuntmen were not really a thing at the time, at least in the Japanese film industry, but he started doing a lot of stunt work around this time. Like in the next year, where he would become the suit actor for a little-known kaiju called Godzilla, a role he would hold for the next 18 years, along with other lead kaiju in non-Godzilla-related kaiju movies.
I do feel bad for not knowing who this was now.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Apparently it was like the suit was heavy, but he was like, oh, it's okay, I'm military trained, I can handle it. He sometimes
classic military trained guy thing to do.
He said sometimes he sleeps inside of it because, it was too much of a hassle to actually take it off.
Yeah.
Initially he felt the experience of being in the suit alone was isolating, but over time he began to embrace it as he was like, oh yeah, I'm the star of the show. Took a lot more pride in it as time went on. Part of why there are so many different suits for Godzilla movies is because Nakajima would wear them out by the time filming the movie was done, and basically had to make a new one every time because the old one was fucked up.
That makes sense.
Yeah. He would later comment, I don't know how facetiously this was, but he later say about Heisei Godzilla, oh damn, they keep reusing that suit, so clearly they're not roughing up enough. There's need more action in those movies. A little more violence.
Nice.
So that's fun. He apparently had a good relationship with the special effects department, and would often buy drinks and hold barbecues for Teizo Toshimitsu and the other sculptors, as thanks for their hard work. In 1965, Nakajima, after filming Ghidorah the Red Monster, began touring around the country as Godzilla. Eiji Tsuburada personally had a lot of affection for Nakajima and put a lot of trust in his ability to handle a scene, even without necessarily coordinating with others. As one anecdote, apparently during the filming of King Kong vs. Godzilla, there was a part where Godzilla was going to throw King Kong, but they didn't tell Shoichi Hirose, which is King Kong's suit actor.
Oh my god.
They were just like, yeah, you got this. As part of this trust, Nakajima was approached by Eiji for Ultra Q, and Nakajima would later do some kaiju stuff for Ultraman and Ultra 7. I don't think as much, but he was still involved.
Yeah.
As time fell on, he did feel that the kaiju that appeared in TV shows didn't come across as heavy in their performances. So he felt they were a little too light or gangly, I guess is the term he used. Mm-hmm. He felt like they need to sell the weight of the kaiju a bit more. So, 1971, Toho canceled his contract, and then he began to start working at a bowling alley next door to Toho, and it was also still owned by Toho.
Nice.
He initially planned to keep playing Godzilla until he was 50, but he was kind of shaken by Eiji's death, and was like, well, if Eiji's dead, is Godzilla dead? Is this the end of Godzilla? He was convinced to do 2 more movies, Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, and then Godzilla vs. Gigan. With respect to the latter, he did feel a bit uncomfortable with the amount of bloodshed in that movie, because it was sort of I guess an internalization of Eiji's own policies of not being as bloody with kaiju. Now, his body is 2 years after his death or so, and then I put out a really bloody kaiju movie. He's like, I don't know about this. Mm-hmm. Later, that bowling alley closed, and then he ended up working for a Toho-owned mahjong parlor instead. Apparently, he kept working at these places owned by Toho in case they wanted to bring him back again to do Godzilla. But then they made the movie Godzilla vs. Megalon without telling him, and then he felt like the possibility vanished before his eyes instantaneously, basically. But hey, you know what? As a guy who was Godzilla for 18 years, he was of course invited to lots of speaking events and conventions, not only in Japan, but also globally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And these lucrative funds helped him buy a house, which is nice.
Yeah.
In 2015, unfortunately, he was hospitalized, and despite undergoing lung surgery the next year, he would eventually pass away from pneumonia in 2017.
Damn.
Yeah. Moving on to Pagos' design, Toru Narita, Ryosuke Takayama, as the power combo. Primarily, Takayama did the head because Pagos was primarily based off of the suit of Baragon from Frankenstein vs. Baragon. The sculptor for that suit originally was Teizu Toshimitsu for the Baragon head, the Yagi brothers for the body, and Keizu Murase for the back, which I guess was a lot of texture on it. The Pagos suit would end up being reused considerably in Ultraman, as it converted into Naronga, Magular, and Gabara, before finally being returned to Toho, where they turned it back into Baragon once again for Destroy All Monsters in 1968.
We got a lot of mileage out of that one.
Yeah. And you know what? All 6 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Apparently this episode had 4 different script rewrites. The most of any other episode in Ultra Q, kind of tied only with like episode 27. Originally the episode was going to have Gomez instead of Pagos, who apparently came back to the dead with his own molecular ray organ or something. By that point, Gomez had already been taken back to Ho to become a Godzilla suit again, I guess. So they made Pagos instead. And finally, less info on this one just because I don't have to talk about guys, but still a good episode nonetheless. Kemer. Another Arikawa episode. Suit actor. Bin Furuya.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Actually, wait, I could have gotten his bio. I guess I'll do it again later because he's Ultraman. Anyway, designer was Tori Naruto and sculptor was Takayama. Apparently, Naruto fell in love with Furuya's figure in his acting role. In his suit acting role. Whatever that means. He was like, yeah, you got a good figure when, like, I guess when he's playing Kemer, and I guess also he'd go on to do Ragon as well, so I'll dug up Furuya again there. And this was a major inspiration for him when designing Ultraman, which I guess, sure, I guess if you're going to put the guy in a suit, you should make the suit designed for his figure.
Yeah.
These guys are not normal. The Kemer laugh was originally modified from a laugh from the movie Matango, which we have yet to see. And then I guess it was later used again, but I guess maybe edited for the Bolton laugh. Hajime Sarai wanted a script based on Toho's 1958 movie, The H-Man, which is, I guess, a movie about, like, liquid aliens. And Ijima added his own flavor to the script. Apparently the episode used a vanishing technique for the camera stuff, was filmed with a similar technique as the H-Man movie, where they used organic glass for something. I don't know how it works, but that's just what the trivia said. Ijima is also apparently responsible for the particular running animation that Kemer had. He liked the idea of, like, sort of like the roller skate run, but also the actual realities of Kemer's suit made it so that couldn't actually put him on roller skates to do the movement, but, you know, just because of, like, heaviness and side issues. But still the basis for the movement. And of course, Kemer's head would later be repurposed in Ultraman for Alien Zedon, not to be confused with Kaiju Zedon.
Yeah.
There's also originally going to be planned an episode where Kemer would fight both Pagos and Garamon. But that didn't happen, obviously. And yeah, that's a run back of this week. A little hefty one.
Yeah. And then I think last we got emails.
Yeah. This week, for the first time in a while, no emails.
Okay.
Hello, Editing Red, back again. Mel let us know we got a message from Jessica, who emailed last week, to say while she didn't note her name in the email, she also no longer goes by the name which we used, which we pulled from her email address. I'm the same with my Gmail, so yeah, I get that. So yeah, misunderstanding, nobody's fault, but apologies nonetheless. We have gone back and done a little bit of editing to scrub that old name from last episode. It felt bad leaving it the way it was.
All right.
And yeah. Honestly, 2 hours. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Actually, there's probably some gaps in there, but you know what?
Yeah, it's
pretty
fine.
good length.
Yeah.
We have 2 more weeks
We
of this
have
show.
2 more weeks of this show.
That's wild.
I'm, I like this show, but I'm ready for something new.
I'm excited for what the future holds.
Yeah, we can enjoy these last
The
little
Ultraman
bits
asexual.
Yeah, so true. You can enjoy these last little bits of the lie of the return of Ultraman, and then move on to bigger and better, more asexual Ultraman.
Yeah, this one they'll be honest right up front. Yeah, there's a new guy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do we want to do plugs?
Yeah, I'll just say, next month there'll be another Mirror Man episode. We don't have a date for that yet.
No.
We didn't plan it out. We probably would have planned it out today, but Red's away, so we'll probably figure that out later.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're not in a rush.
No.
Also, Blaze's movie may be out soon, but I'm not promising anything. But I think I put on Super Eye Imagination, so it could happen sooner rather than later. That's what the people on the streets are saying, so to say.
Yeah. Well, you can find me on Twitter at B_invoked. That's BE_INVOKED. You can also find my YouTube channel, Canopus Invoke. That's CANOPUS INVOKE. Not too much on the horizon, I think, for that, just because I'm busy with like work deadline stuff right now. So YouTube has to kind of fall to the wayside as I do that and prioritize other things. But
yeah,
Mel, where can people find you?
You find me at Dear Crowns on Twitter and on Blue Sky. I Twitch sometimes on stream. What?
You Twitch sometimes on stream? You might want to talk to a doctor about that. I don't know if that's...
I got a Twitch, Cosmic_Crown, which I only mentioned because, Brad's not doing as much YouTube stuff, but we have been doing Tales of the Abyss here and there.
Yeah.
And we hit a pretty good...
Fun.
Yeah, it's a good game. We hit major significant plot beat as we, with some reveals as we head into we finished the first act of the game.
Yeah.
Luke, I wouldn't have done that personally, but you do you.
A lot of the stuff we thought was going to be end of game JRPG stuff just happens at the 1/3 mark of this game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no idea what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
Looking forward to where the game goes next. But yeah, we have the YouTube. If you're not listening to this on YouTube, we got UltraQ on YouTube. Email ultraqpod@gmail.com. Please send us emails for if not next week, then at least finale. That's the best time to send emails. And then UltraQ Fund for the coffee. Because ideally subtitles for stuff would be nice to get the ball rolling on. Also, I spent a lot of money importing that stuff last year, and funds are nice. Unwisely, I just spent my own money on it instead of actually using the fund, but it's fine, quote unquote. But yeah, next week 3 and 3, and then I don't know. I said 3 and 3. Next week there's 3 episodes, and the week after there's the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And as for Blazer and Rear Man, you'll hear about it. Also don't forget the Anno's fan movie is in the last episode as well.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think
that's that.
Yeah, we can head out.
Yeah. Have a good one, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye. Later.
壊すぞ地響き立てて吠える怪獣大怪獣ふわっと開いた口から炎あたり一面焼け野原間違ってない死が迫る帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン十字を組んで 狙った敵は必殺技の贈り物大地を飛んでキック一発近くに寄ってウルトラチョップ凶悪怪獣倒すため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン戦い進んで見上げる空に一つ輝く僕の星遠く離れて地球に一人あれがふるさとだ正義と平和を守るため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン